Then move straight into our Community Board Chair update, which this morning is from Vincent Community Board Chair Jaden Crom. Welcome.
Good morning. It was probably the quickest I ever got to this table. If you don't mind, I'm going to look at my phone a little bit because I had written something and then before I came in realised that you were talking report on the community board's priorities for this LTP. So I'm just going to be looking at that a bit just so I can find where I am with those. Anyway, it's been quite busy in the Vincent Ward lately. As you'll see, there's quite a bit of development going on up on the Para Street. Ngāi Tahu's development is developing quite well. We're really pleased to see the work that's being done on State Highway 8 by Ngāi Tahu. I know there's been a lot of questions around who's been paying for that remedial work, and very happy to say that that has been the developers. So that means that we're going to have a really nice looking entrance to town, and no cost to council, which is really good to see. You're also seeing that Riverside Park is moving forward again. So Ford and Hogan are now hold that contract, and we are hoping that that'll be completed within the next 8 weeks and then opened up to the public. And just like to thank this council for all of its support during that project, because it has been a very long one. And I think we've all learned a lesson, especially David, that if a community group comes to you and says, let's build on a floodplain, on a floodbank, don't do it. It's never that straightforward or that simple. So you're definitely looking forward to that. And hopefully next time I see you, I'll be able to give you a full update on the VCB's work around community engagement. So Carla and Jim are still working in the background on that, and we'll hopefully have more on that soon. Obviously, your next report is around the LTP and what the board did. So I thought, since I've got your attention, I would just touch on a few of those while I was here. Obviously, for the VCB for a very long time, the whole time I've been here, ADMI and museums have been a really important thing for us. We believe that they are fundamental to our community. They're a central hub for people to go to. They teach about our history and they facilitate a lot of events in our community. So obviously, ADMI has been asking for an increase of funding for a number of years, well before I came along. And under digitalisation, that money was 82,000 was moved out of our grants, and not sure what happened after that, but it's funded from the district. Well, I know that there's a museum strategy that needs to be worked on. We continue to be a bit concerned that ADMI won't make it to, I think it's written here, 2029 with its current funding levels, given that it hasn't increased in at least the last 3.5 years. As I've just said to Taylor, I would really like to have a bit of a chat with Cromwell as well and see if there is a way forward between the two museums together a bit more and see if we can find a solution before 2029. Because at this rate, inflation, the cost of everything else is going up. I just can't see a way that they're going to get to that point. We agree with the resource recovery being consulted on as a priority. It's been one that has come up in every survey that council's done since Wastebusters closed. We think environmentally it's great, and we also think it's a really good thing for the community. And so we hope we can work with you guys on that. We're also happy to see that Ophir, Lauder and Bex Halls and the outdoor pool for Alex are there again. Obviously, we had part of the conversation during the last LTP, but there were further conversations that needed to be had with the community. And there's obviously Blossom Festival, which was moved out of the VCB's contestable funds during the last LTP temporarily while a better solution was found. We think that moving forward, moving it back into the contestable funds of the VCB is not the right place for it to be. At the end of the day, this event actually has a positive economic impact far beyond the Vincent Ward, and we don't believe that it should just be the people of Vincent paying for that. Also think that it's important that they had that security moving forward instead of being a contestable fund every year. This is on here. Oh yes, our grants level. So I can see that that was right at the bottom of the VCB one. Well, we don't believe there's a need to consult on it. We do believe that there needs to be further conversations. As the report states, we strongly disagree with the current funding, that the current funding levels are right. So following digitisation, as I stated earlier, 83,000 was removed from the grants, the community grants to go to the museums. And I'm not saying that it should be the full amount coming back into it, but I do think we need to have do a conversation about how much more goes in. But we don't tend to go above the amount currently allocated, around 38,000, very often. I think when you have conversations with the groups out there in the community, a lot of them know that we've been funding some of these organisations for a decade plus, and so they don't really think that there's money available. And so I think it'd be really important to have that conversation. But overall, I think the LTP is looking good. Obviously, the VCB doesn't have a lot in there. We took more of the approach of we did very well on the last one, and we wanted to ensure that we kept those wins through this one, and that the other wards all have quite high needs of what they're wanting to do, and also have to keep in mind that rates have gone up a lot over the last few years, and we're very conscious of that. And so we would rather preserve what we got in the last one versus going out and trying to make massive gains in this next one. We're just trying to be very realistic with it and take some of that pressure off. Thanks.
Jaden, has anybody got any questions?
No, just noting the Walding Pines obviously was a issue that VCB. I don't know whether you want to have any comment on that or.
I think it's still a really important one, especially environmentally. And if you look at the money that has been spent in Vincent already, whether it was Half Mile and places like that, I think it would be an absolute waste of money to just stop. I think, the work started, we may as well continue to spend and get it done. And I think Martin's got something to add to this one.
Can I just add to that? It was really in reference to our hills out the back here. Because if you've noticed lately, it's if we don't do something about it, we're going to end up being surrounded by green. And that's completely contrary to what our environment is. And yes, I know it's private land that we're dealing with, but we need to start engaging with the landowners to do something about it, because just in the last 5 years, those hillsides have just changed dramatically. And as the old saying goes, there's no cheaper time to do it than now.
Especially since the government wants to give some more money to it as well.
Exactly.
And I think the thing is, it is private land, and so there's limits of what council can do. But if we can be seen as being proactive on council-owned land and dealing with the problems we've got, I think we'd have a much better chance of having those conversations with the private landowners.
Just to highlight to you that in the Vincent Ward and the Upper Mannerburn catchment area, you've got the same issue, except it's can't be seen yet, but it will be seen in a few years. So
yeah,
I'll be drawing your attention that way too.
It's a big one, but I'm hoping in the next 3 or 4 LTPs we can get there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming along this morning. We are now moving straight into the community board consultation priorities. We begin on page 8. It's our agenda, and we are joined by Alex Crosby. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Caroline. So this is largely a report for your information and to make sure that you had the full trail from the suggestion from the community board, the staff advice, and then the community board response to that. The main priorities that have come out of it that are relevant to all boards and may have a consultation requirement relevant to the whole district were housing, resource recovery facilities, Cromwell Town Centre, the dog activity, the request from Vincent for consideration of grants budgets, and I haven't listed it there, but relevant to that conversation, Wilding Pines. We've provided the full information on that, and I understand the rest of it has been with you in the budget conversations. So from that, it's just questions for us on this, and then the report's there for you as you need that information in the next conversation.
Any questions? I think it has been a really worthwhile process going to each of the community boards at this stage and then bringing it all back together to us, but also for it to go to each of the boards as a collective information, as opposed to just each board focusing on their own little slice of paradise. So yeah, hopefully you found it worthwhile from a staff perspective as well as to what are the priorities across the board for the long-term plan.
Great. It's the I think only time in my life I'll get to work on policy from the ground all the way up. So love it.
Perfect. Right, no further questions on that?
One operation one. $1,400 for price for a bin is on page Is that the price for a bin anywhere?
That's the price for the bin and emptying it for 12 months.
Just people ask, why isn't a rubbish bin there? So $1,400 would be a good price to pay. That's what it costs to.
It was.
Just empty
It's emptying.
Yeah.
on average.
Yep, no, thanks. It's clarification.
Thank you. The recommendation is that the report be received and the contents noted. Thank you, Sarah. Second, and thanks, Andrew. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you, much appreciated. Now move to page 57 and the LTP budget input, led by Saskia, Amelia.
Michael especially. We've got elbows.
Yes. Twist it up.
We are well and truly into the guts of today's meeting, so.
Yes.
Finally.
Let's go, yeah, settle in.
Put you in the head. What are you doing?
I know.
This is not right.
I managed to bump myself up.
Good morning, all. I'm going to keep this very short because this is a fairly long session with quite a lot to get through. This is sort of the follow-on from the workshop from the activity areas that you will remember from a few weeks ago, which identify the challenges and some of the options to mitigate those challenges. And of course, this was an addition. These options were in addition to business as usual. The paper that's in front of you, or the series of papers, provide an overview of the items, and any direction that was indicated at the workshops have been noted on the sheet as well. But also your direction today may change that. And there may be further changes, noting this is an iterative process. So once the budget is built, or the budgets have been completed by 18th of June, this will be, as I say, an iterative process, and it will be coming back to you. And of course, your today will be what those initial budgets will be based on. So,
I might just chime in too,
Sure.
Before the others. So, and when it comes to the FTE discussion, of course, you're free to determine. I'm just, the things I draw your attention to is, there are some things here that are growth driven. I think the things around the building consents, the BCOs, the rates, some additional rates. But there are some things here that actually this council does need because it's in a high growth. But there will be other areas here with FTEs where it is a decision for you. And maybe we just stick with the status quo because I'm mindful, you're mindful. We've got Head Start, simplifying local government coming around the corner, which is going to be a massive change for the region. So I would just try and separate those things that you think contribute to managing the growth we're seeing. And then those things where actually, you know what, we can pause on this additional staff because we've got unifying Head Start coming down the track, which will cause us to have a good think about it across the region.
Peter, so Wayne's going to basically have a resolution for every decision that is made. So we might be going for a record with the number of resolutions attached to this. But if we just move down basically line by line in the printout that you've got, it's also on the screen, and we'll just take your direction as to whether things should be included, excluded, budgeted for in a different way.
I guess you have to marry it up with the presentation too, because there's some justifications, a quick summary in there as well as that. So you might be able to open that up on your laptop and you've got this in front.
So the top list is community vision. So the first one is increasing public participation. So that's the citizens' assemblies. There are three options for that. Don't budget anything, budget
$100,000 in year 2, which would be related to the district vision, and option 3 was $100,000, which was option 2, plus $100,000 in every other year of the LTP.
I'm happy to kick it off. I think we're going to have to move at pace, so we'll hopefully everybody's at least 3 coffees deep this morning. Given the amount of reform and the changes that will be coming for this council, I think that would be money that would be well utilised. We've got some really, really big decisions coming up that will have implications for our communities. I think it would be helpful to have that set aside, and we can get that vote. Yeah, others thoughts.
So we're looking at 100K per annum.
Yeah.
As a preferred option.
Yeah.
And is that, I mean, obviously looking at for the next, committing to that for the next 2 years, or is that committing to that going forward and just going to hold that for the next 2 years and it gets reviewed?
100K per annum under the
Increase.
Going forward.
What have we got now? 170.
$100,000 item that was on the budgets, and that's all we've got budgeted so far. So that was.
We're doubling.
Doubling.
Yeah.
Either this, sorry.
26, 27
Yeah.
financial
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I think next financial year is
Yeah.
7 million.
You're talking an additional 100K.
Yes, so this would be from
27.
2027.
Happy to leave that in, recognising that this will go to the community for consultation. So we put our preferred options in, and then
And maybe we do a citizen assembly as as an example of what it would look like.
So that
Part
100,
of that, so that people would get, hopefully people would be able to get to see what it would be.
one of them is towards the citizens' assembly.
yeah, so that's increasing public participation, and citizens' assembly is the main thing of that we have been looking at.
So does that tie us to going off on citizens' assembly?
No, because it says increase public participation.
Because I think we are all put here to make decisions, and I guess if we're kicking it back to the community by a citizens' assembly. So we're not bound by the citizens' assembly.
That's a decision that you make at the time, and it would depend on what topic you were talking to the community about. So some places that run them, the council says we will implement the decision of the assembly, and others say we will use that as a decision-making tool. It's generally for more complex things, but not something as complex as an entire LTP. It might be for something that we have coming up later on in the agenda that we may or may not.
Yeah, I guess I'm all for increasing the awareness of what we're going through over the next couple of years, but I do revert back to we're put here to make the call. If we have a public referendum on every decision we make, and I just wonder about going down this path and then going to follow through on what people want, assembly, because we view it differently.
And that's the challenge. And the idea is that you're bringing people on the journey. It's quite a good tool for improving and increasing trust and confidence in council and our decision making. And you certainly wouldn't use it for every decision. It would be for probably one topic a year, potentially, as opposed to going out once a month and trying to find a panel. Option 3. Leave it in for now.
Yeah.
If we put things in now, and I'm aware that if we take this much time on each one, we are going to be here till 10 o'clock tonight. Leaving things in now always leaves the opportunity for them to come out later. If they come out now, they cannot go back in. And a big part of whether or not things come out down the track will be what our end result number is when it comes to the budget.
Absolutely.
And our plan is to present the first cut of the budget in July to you. So you'll see the impact of the directions today. And we can bring this list back to you at that time and you can make further refinement on.
So that was option 3 for that one.
Yep.
The next is proactively meet growing population demands, and that was through either do nothing was option 1, increasing FTE option 2, and then further increasing FTE was option 3. So that would be for grants administration as well as economic development which would be, option 3 would be a total of 1.5 FTE for option 2.
That's one that is tied to the growth component, or do you think that sits separately?
I think the FTE, the 0.5 to 1, economic development advisor. Right now we have one person. I think there's a strong argument to make that with what we're seeing in the economic uplift we're seeing in the growth of the industrial park and so on, that actually to get across this district and represent the economic interests of the business community is becoming harder and harder with just one person. So I think there's a valid argument to consider that there is probably a case to be made to increase the capacity in our economic development team from 1 to 2. So it's just not crazy. But the other one is we may just have to make do around the grants. We're using the existing resources.
Option 2. Option 2 is the spend, double the, 3 is adding some capacity for grants.
So the
Yeah.
original options, but you
Yeah,
can actually say that
presentation.
that's what you prefer. The original options were to have increased grants administration
0.5.
as a 0.5 and then a 0.5 economic development. And then option 3 was a whole FTE economic development plus 0.5 grants administration. But we can just say you don't want any of those options. You want 1 FTE economic development, no additional grants administration.
Do we want to look at that as an option, a new option 2 of additional resourcing for, but targeted to economic development, not to general grants admin?
That stays at 195, does it?
And just to note, and we will bring back in a further session some of the costs here. When some staff presented up their staffing costs, some included overheads and some didn't. I don't think we'd be paying an economic development 195k a year. So that one would be including overhead. So we'll rationalise some of those numbers for you.
Community vision, defence and promotion funds.
Yeah, option 2.
2 was general district event fund, and option 3 included a specific $24,500 per annum for Blossom Festival. Separately.
That 24.5 comes out of the 150 or additional 2.
You can make that decision.
Possibly comment.
Martin won't
Oh,
comment on
additional-
that. So we're
things
looking for
additional is
option
the
2, but ring fencing the Blossom Festival grants, because it's been going around and around and around around this table.
Yep.
Option 2, but that includes ring fencing.
Fencing.
Yeah, thank you.
So total cost 150.
Total cost 150.
An additional FTE in the rate space. So
We go from 1 to 2.
Yes.
And that is, I can tell you that didn't include overheads.
Yes.
That would probably be the actual, around there somewhere would be
Yeah.
advertising it.
Yep. Option 3.
Option 3.
The next one actually has no dollar value because that's around modelling, which there's a paper that's going to audit and risk next week, not with the modelling, but just explaining what the process will be. And that's around whether we continue self-insuring our assets, whether we enter into a formal policy or whether we self-insure in a different way. So when that's ring fencing. So this doesn't have any dollar values yet, but we'll bring the modelling back to you and you'll decide
It's option 1.
the options too.
No option. But I think probably, given that it hasn't yet gone to audit and risk and we don't know what it is, we should leave it as, put it as option 2 so that we can find out what the cost would actually be and then make the decision. Yeah.
Annual audit is no increase suggested, so either we continue BAU with our around 50,000 a year or stop.
Just to be clear, this is the internal audit program, not the external legally required, that we have no choice in. So this is the internal.
What's the value of the comparing the external one which we're obliged to do and an internal one which we're not obliged to do?
So,
Model
Yeah.
that gives us no
Significantly
value in the
cheaper.
internal model.
so approximately 25,000 per engagement for the internal audit. So we've got expenditure one that everything going well, we're going to present in a workshop to audit risk next week. And fees.
Yeah, it's going to audit the risk next week and 276 of each GST.
Yeah. With GSTS over 300K, I saw it come across just recently.
That's imposed on us from Wellington, correct?
Yeah.
Deloitte's this year though, auditors,
Yes,
as opposed to offshore auditors.
right, because that's, we made that call. Yes, yep.
So we're happy to leave BAU consultation fees in there and continue that internal process?
Yeah.
Right.
It should be consultant fees, and that is PwC that run our internal program. Rather than consultation, we don't normally consult the community in those ones.
Next, increasing demands on fleet. So a few options here, continue, move to leasing, or continue and add 2 additional vehicles.
That was in the extra demands we've seen in cost and the parts chain and their inability to access the general fleet cars we have and Alex in the 2 and from.
Yeah.
To be low
Continue
cost
purchase.
for that fleet program.
Purchase and look at the other vehicles.
Option 3.
Option 3.
Electoral uncertainty. This is one with no options. This was just a note that Wayne brought to you to basically say things are increasing in that space.
Still understand that.
Unable to control the costs.
Yeah.
The next one on your sheet, I think there's a slight typing error, so it should say increased training costs. The next line down rather than electoral costs. So that was around increasing the funding for development for elected members. So as either BAU continue as we are or increase and to look at the options.
Have we exceeded the budget, or was the budget been underspent in the last term?
Now, Wayne, I think we were pretty much, we are running in the red on some of the stuff in the lines. Probably more that the issue is it really restricts what you guys can decide to do in terms of, like, if you wanted to send someone on the Institute of Directors program, for example, pretty much that's going to wipe out most of your training budget for all. So I think even if there's been underspends, it's literally because you haven't got much, and we see that in other training budgets. If you haven't got much of a training budget, you can't do much with it anyway. And so Wayne, what was it? Was it 25K a year?
What it is now.
Yeah, what it is now?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
and-
have any information on comparable councils and what they were? No.
And that is one of the
Yeah.
things that came through to Corowai as well, was that they suggested we did increase development for elected members.
Option 2.
They offer a program. We can bring back, so just as a guide, not that I think it applies to elected members, for our staff, we run a model that's 2.5% of your annual salary. So if you ran that through you guys, you would be more than 25K. So even that, we pull a lot of our training course, but yeah, we'll
Move on to the information services, which you may remember, options in here. So I think Nathan got up to 13 challenges perhaps, but some of these are also interlinked. So we'll move through and you can kind of make your decisions, but there might be some work that Nathan does in the background where he says, well, if you didn't want to do X, then we probably also shouldn't do Y. So if anything, the decisions you make now may boost in budget, but Nathan will look through that once decisions have been made. So the first one was infrastructure and cloud. So that was, I think your preference originally was to maintain the current level of service. Option 1, rather than increase through option 2 and further increase through option 3.
It was with retaining the Three Waters overhead allocated to that though.
Testing my memory on that one. There was one that he was retaining the 3 overhead in.
The overhead that we derive, and what is it? It's about 4K,
Yeah.
IS overhead for.
Yeah, so it's no, it's
Individual.
non-material.
Well, it is and it isn't. If there's 25 people transferring across, then there's 100K there in overhead potentially on IT side.
Right, gotcha. Yes.
I suppose it was some way, maybe we were a wee bit confused by the way we described it. So in essence, I think we removed the Three Waters Nathan has at the moment, that would be a decrease. What Nathan's saying is keep it at the same level, which in effect is an increase.
Yes, that's what I'm
Yeah.
getting at. It's actually an increase.
It is an
Yeah,
increase.
yeah. But just on that one, eh?
There was only one option,
Right.
yes, that,
Yeah.
yes.
Right, happy with that then? No additional cost maintained before service?
Yep.
Growth of digital assets. Right,
It's gonna be there.
the possibility of maintain level service baseline, no additional cost. Did anybody want to move that into one of the other options? Information and integration. There was one, no additional cost.
That's
That's the one with the
that's the
water.
one where we actually said option
Water. So
3.
that's the one that we've about effectively.
So, yeah,
So you
option
end up
3.
with an improvement for no extra money.
Yep.
It's a big tip, doesn't it? Right, modernise legacy system.
Okay, so that was significant, that one.
Yeah.
But what he was proposing there was baseline in years of 1 to 3 effectively. But that maintained baseline and external assessment comes at a cost. And the upgrade of the enterprise system, which is a significant body of work, pushing that out years 4, 5 and 6 and beyond, because that's probably something that's going to have to get picked up in any regional unification or whatever that looks like.
We don't want to be spending that money now.
No, but there's a baseline cost that we should be doing, and that's probably reflected in option 1.
I guess that kind of ties in, I think all of this stuff to do with IS ties into what Curtis was saying earlier, is that this is largely an operational, this is just a strategic direction on how to manage this. I'm not sure that it should really be going how far out you go.
Oh, that's right, whether you have to consult it
Yeah.
or not, that's quite right.
So,
But part of the challenge is, and I'm jumping ahead, just thinking forward, is as we advance through the Head Start process and all that sort of stuff. At the moment, no council's factoring in budget for Head Start in the beyond the 2028. Well, it might not exist. We have to do an LTC amendment. But there will be significant costs, but we're not sort of focusing on that right now because there's no law written on it. But, the cost for an enterprise system to go and join in with just someone who's already got something is going to be considerable.
There will be cost coming anyway, regardless of what the outcome is.
Yeah.
So we're happy with those two things in there, then recognising that sits out at years 3 and 4, and we've got zero clue what we might look like then.
And just to answer your question, Tracy, while you formally consult on the whole thing, it wouldn't form a consultation document. Things like our operating systems are direction from you based on the level of risk.
Yep.
And it would be very odd for us to say, hey, community, do we invest in cybersecurity or not? And they all say, no, don't do it. And then you're exposed to heaps of risk. What are you going to do when you get that feedback? So the directions you've given us so far for budget entry, none of those would be in the consultation documents themselves.
So there's a 150K range there, that 450 to 600.
600 down.
Yeah, is that what you do in your budget, your initial budget? The 600?
I imagine that.
Yeah, I imagine
it would, yeah.
Yeah. We'll double check that and
Yeah.
we'll,
With that,
Digital collaboration is next.
That's to Peter's point. If that's option 3 is years 1 to 3, that's something that we're going to be paying for now if we go with it, but maybe null and void. Down the track.
Yes, so
So that's the contentious one because what's the high OPEX cost then of staying with the status quo?
How I read the PowerPoint presentation, which goes with this one though.
It's different, yeah.
It is different. What it says here is no change with no change, probably should be a comma, with reassessment in year 3 as levels of amalgamation are understood.
With the $0.
And so what that means, well, that's how I read that in presentation, but doesn't quite marry up with here because the way it is written here, it's saying that would happen over
Yeah,
years
1
1 to 3. So with Nathan being here, we could probably clarify that.
Yeah, we've brought the expert to the table.
Sorry, which topic are we on?
Digital collaboration.
Yeah. So what was the question, sorry, Peter?
In this presentation here, which supports the document, what it says here, no change with reassessment in year 3 as levels of amalgamation are understood. What it says here in the council direction is that it would be occurring over years 1 to 3 of the LTP. That's the way I read it in the right-hand box.
700.
Whereas if I would have thought we wouldn't want to be sinking too much money into this until year 3, where we could actually pull
We're going to stick
pin.
with the high OPEX model for the time being.
It was similar to the legacy system conversation. Put it in there.
Okay, yeah.
Right, cool.
oh yeah, that,
So option 3, but it's year 4.
yeah.
Essentially, we're looking at 150k OPEX, just not 700 until year 4.
Kick the 100 off in the year.
So it's zero for now.
Zero from now.
Yeah.
27.
Digital disposal of information.
I guess the question is, can we continue to muddle through, fair to middling, with our existing system, accepting that going forward in the future, there will be something larger than this entity worried about this problem? Do we need to solve it now? Can we solve it in 4 years' time?
So 4 years' time.
Versus the risk of having personal information that we potentially should not have.
Yeah, I mean, I was listening on the way up today on the radio and they're talking about the Manage My Health one and that you know, managing personal information is number one priority in information systems. So no, yeah.
I think we put that in because it
Yeah.
can always come out later, but
Yeah.
when we're talking about our people and the risk to their data that we hold, I think that's probably something that we don't want to sit on for 3 years potentially.
Agree.
So thank you, Nathan. Option 3. Right, cybersecurity maturity.
That's your 2%.
Option 3, 20k, one off, 5 years. Useful life.
Yes, and that was the one where we took off the on-call
Yeah.
$18,000.
And I would probably I wouldn't do all this in year 1. It would be staged over the first 3 years. In terms of the work program to implement it.
Leave that in option 3 at the moment. Heritage preservation.
Again, I think it's referring to option 1. I guess option 3 is, again, I think that's something that perhaps you consider beyond once big decisions are made. That might be a year 4, year 5 decision. And we do enough to preserve what we've got. And we wait for some bigger decisions to resolve this.
You push it into year 4 or option 3.
So it'd be another LTP.
Yeah, so there's Gareth had indicated that there's already plans to investigate option 3. So we use option 1 for now and then option 3 later down the track.
That's basically 70 grand a year, if you're looking at option 1. Or for the immediate term.
Yeah, 40.
No, what's the
25 to 40
25 to
cap.
25.
25 to 30.
CapEx and OpEx.
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
40 and
yeah.
32.
Yeah.
And that's run out
Correct.
to the next LT.
Sorry, I wish I brought my glasses with me.
We probably need like a musical pair that go around the table. Team leader, digital enablement.
So this is one I do think is just put down to growth in our digital capacity, growth in our cybersecurity responsibilities, and growth in the team. We're doing more and more application based, but that risk effectively falls on the IT team, which is actually pretty small by IT standards. And I think the ratios are we probably need this additional staff member to give us the extra heft we need in that particular area.
And if you weren't of their mind to put this further modelling, that does impact on the delivery of a whole lot of other stuff as well, if Nathan didn't have a significant role. And again, we won't be paying this person 180K, that doesn't include OB.
I think there is a community expectation that we are more digitally enabled and easier to contact. So I'm happy, are we happy to leave option 3 in there at the moment?
Yeah.
Me too.
Right. Enterprise-wide AI.
This is a really interesting one. My personal thoughts are AI is here. We need to be using it. I use it regularly. In fact, that question about the ombudsman, I quickly whacked in a question and it gave me the names of the people who I've been dealing with on the ombudsman. So it is a productivity enhancer. I think in time we will see that. We will see that we'll probably have reduced staffing. And, in this future amalgamation of some description, I think AI would feature quite heavily because it will help balance. I think this is a level of investment that would be prudent.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So on that basis, just, I agree, Peter, but when we're looking at, just going back for digital enablement, obviously, when you're looking at employing someone like that, do you make sure that that person is up to speed with like that is, and that could possibly be used for training for some of us elected members that may not be so up to the plate.
The idea is to have somebody with that capability to ensure that we are getting those benefits from.
Stu's looking on worried.
Just and there does seem to be, I guess the idea is not necessarily that we would invest staff, but that they would be able to do more.
Yes, correct.
And
Productivity increase.
the government has created an all of government panel for information services now, recent announcement, which might make it cheaper for organisations to tap into them.
That would be hopeful, I think.
That would be very nice.
Just to add to what Peter said about AI is that if we didn't go down that path, it would probably increase the risk as well.
So that's 200 to 300K, that's sort of licensing costs.
Yes, yeah, licensing and training and that sort of thing, because we just can't deploy it.
Work around the government reforms. Like I just quickly looked at some of my cost centres right now. One of them, I'm up to 300K for the costs of running the work so far in a number of areas, and it was all unbudgeted. And it's the cost of this reform program. And so it's just saying, I think we need to put something to one side, but in reality, it still won't be enough because any future transition is going to come at a significant cost. If we dealt with for subsequent OTP amendments.
200 plus 50.
200 plus the 50. For the
Yes, there was a community vision line in the original workshops to right at the beginning, responding to reform, scooped that out and put it into.
it was just only in those first 3 years of the LTP.
Happy with that? It's quite important that we get that right, I think.
And those 2 FDEs.
Status quo. We deal with what we've got now, and some future amalgamation that might resolve itself in that regard.
We can address as this program develops, as Kate indicated, 250K might not be enough. Of course, we don't want to overrate our ratepayers because we just don't know. But through annual plan processes, as we see how the program develops.
It's maybe that way. I have got like an idea coming this early time next year as well as to whether we actually need to reduce that.
So that's 15 FDE.
Yeah, and with the bulk in that growth, the growth areas.
Full-time equivalent.
Actually, we will have somewhere to put them because obviously the water team we're going to be lifting and moving. And so there will be some additional spaces. And remember, with the Puna Mahara opening up, the common community board will probably be relocating their meetings down there. Which means we can utilise some of that additional space in common for staff as well.
Right, we'll now move to the recommendations. Are they all coming through as individual ones, Wayne, or are they just per attached?
No, we'll allow each one.
One.
Just get you one question.
Yep.
Recommend the table.
Yeah. Growth of digital assets.
The digital assets option one.
Oh, I just barely do.
Whiskey or something into these, mate. If you want.
I think if you can put them up, and if everybody's made their lovely notes, and we'll just go through and check them, and then I think we will take them all as one, because otherwise it'll be here for.
Oh, no, that's too good.
You see, we have to
Sure.
Okay, so off the top of my head, probably about 26, but then will probably be one or two others that sort of 5% of their time might be supporting water. So that's the sort of thing where we have to work through that. Assuming no, that the number of staff who are permanently assigned to work is 100% of the time.
And then, of course, there is the opportunity that some of these could, with the opportunity to retrain if they wanted to. There are people that we only engage with. Could fill some of those things.
We lose a third of their staff and.
All right.
So it starts at B, knowing that A, it's received a report.
Okay. Right, so if we go through, so A has received the report, B, option 3, additional 100K.
Yep.
And then option 2, to ED. Option 2 with Blossom Festival ring fence. Option 3.
I just wonder, sorry to be a pain. I wonder with the FTEs, if we just say one FTE rather than the values, if we could have done it different, because the way that reads is we've just approved 195K for a salary. So maybe just go approves an additional one FTE. So if we just do that for all the.
Salaries are different. Keeping.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go a little bit slower then.
I was watching
As we go through. Okay, so that's one FTE. Self-insurance, option 2, ensure major infrastructure. Oh, we're just exploring that decision.
Yeah,
Okay, so you put notes, the decision for insurance will be made when costs are known. Can we do with that? Okay, option 1, BAU.
Where it's.
So this is annual audit. Business as usual project auditing fees. Is that accurate? It's not a business as usual approach for auditing fees, is it? It's the internal audit.
Yes, internal audit.
So that should read internal audit, not auditing fees.
Is there an increase there, right? 50K existing.
Yes.
Just an option within.
Okay. Option 1, retain sale and purchase and noted even for 2 additional vehicles. For uncertainty, didn't need anything. Notes, challenges with costs of elections.
No training.
No, the next one is training, and then options to increase training budgets, that will come back.
Just
Infrastructure and cloud, BAU, no additional cost.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Three, wouldn't you?
No, option one. One dot, no,
Options retain three.
Option one below, for growth of digital assets and select information services, automation and integration, no additional cost. Option three, yeah, and then legacy system was option one and three. So yeah, modernized legacy system.
Yeah.
So it's option one, but also option three beyond year three.
Yeah.
Good heavens. You went to bed early last night.
Just woke me up, what's this noise?
That recommend tired. You know, just. You're like. Bachelor, speech state.
Yeah, you can remove that other piece, then you the base external assessment in year three is what you've just. Okay.
So that agrees to 450 to 600 to modernise legacy systems, and then 8.5 million after year three. So hopefully what we look at. And then digital collaboration, that was the 700 option three, but beyond year three. No. So, yeah, but that's the modernised legacy system. So that's that one, yeah, so it's not 8, it's not 8.5, you've got the wrong one.
Oh, no,
It's 700, yeah.
You get excited.
Beyond year two.
Oh, you got. She's a long day. Obviously, little glass of.
And then the next one is option three, 50K. And then option three, 20K one off, 5 years useful life. So ongoing, wasn't that coming out, the dedicated on full forensics? Where's that part come from?
That's coming out.
That's coming out.
18K dedicated on call.
Yeah. So 20K. Heritage preservation, is that what we're up to now?
Yes.
So that is option one and three after year four. So that's the 25 to 40. Yeah.
Just keep like that. And so there's more coming after security down to 20 counties, but every year had to do every season. That's where.
And then option three.
Replaced by.
Yeah.
Cool. So then option three, 180K. And then enterprise-wide AI, option three, 200.
So I started on 6.
Option three, 100K. Option 3, 22.5K OPEX.
Yep.
Option 3, 100 to 200K CapEx. Option 3, OPEX, improve expertise and retention. Option 3, DIS, improve shared systems.
Makes sense.
Agrees to improve customer services through shared systems to experience customer service officers regarding variable customer service. That doesn't make sense.
No, I don't think so.
So if we just put,
Last year I did. Well, I actually did, I put it aside.
get rid of that part.
Yeah, aside 25.
Just put shared systems. Full stop.
I would be around for about the same one. Yeah.
And they're both the same. Yes.
Yeah. Right now, but I wanted to need to that. Yeah, just to get honest, it's where that features. Yeah, this, I'm gonna listen to consider to be second. Because it's so on. It's for me anyway. So it's gonna be 3 and 6. Yes.
So just put in there, if we go,
Probably hasn't changed. Should be. Because I really like some news. Yeah.
it's the same one as these two.
So she would benefit as much as you can. That's the same thing. I mean, I could probably do this. Just now through.
So then we get to agency.
Yeah.
Option 1, 1.7 sometimes. Yeah, stands for both. And the option 3, 2.6. Take out gold plate.
It's small.
We're not gonna get these ones that we don't.
Necessarily guaranteed.
And then option 3, 2.5 priority builds.
Yeah.
In option 2, 560 to 938.
Yep.
And then option 2, increase. Well, no, because it was 2, but combined with tasks.
Okay.
So it's 2, but yeah.
Sorry, Madam Chair, can we add in agrees includes part 0.5 FTE for the parks team, so we're really clear. So essentially it's 1.5 FTE for property and 0.5 for parks, yeah.
0.5, not 0.05. Otherwise Gordy will be gutted. Get someone for 5 minutes a week.
Sorry about that.
Okay, and did you want us to specify that one is tied to the industrial development?
Yeah.
He's working 2 jobs.
It's 1 FTE is.
Yeah.
Silver options minor improvements, please, ma'am. So we need to attach what the silver option is to this, or are you happy that it's captured?
I think that will catch it, and I've got a extra resolution done for the.
Right, and then Seal Full Road.
That's Sandflat Road.
Yeah, Sandflat Road.
Yeah.
And then one was Seal Full Road as well. Holding Seal 3.3 community. $3.3
Oh, yeah, I know.
Retain emergency funding. And then unsealed roads, no ceiling programs come into the draft funding model. One FTE.
Yeah.
Adjusted LTP program. Okay, that covers that, doesn't it? Yeah.
Eight FTE for that one.
Right, dog registrations. Will return to council. For modelling. Okay, agrees to explore lifetime tags. Agrees to enhance status quo sites. Funding, stored funding dog parks as part of the dog registration fee. That was also going to model in a rates component, wasn't it, QP? Yeah.
Revenue and financing policy will come back to council as part of the LTP, so consideration of apportionment committee.
So enhanced status quo, is it what we've got? Site. Yep. Business as usual for rural recycling.
Yeah.
Feasibility study. Investigate. Installing solar. Okay, cool. Feasibility study for that. Install solar.
That's from what,
To the Alex. I'll pull an Alex, cool. Install bores and look through. Install bores and look through new pipes.
So the green.
Leave out Cromwell Greenways because it included some other areas, didn't it? Yeah. No, because it's in just parks, yeah.
Okay.
2 to 3 million hybrid model. Possibility. One FTE or parks. Yeah, would. To an additional 1 FTE. Based on
The one that.
being
we were
supported by
gonna-
external funding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
0.5. So to be 0.5 externally funded,
Yeah.
additional 1 FTE.
Just maybe put a note, yet to be confirmed, it's my next name, it's looking pretty positive.
Okay. That next one. Redevelopment FTE.
Yeah, it's part of property.
Yeah, as part of property.
Yeah.
Notes at the cost for developing. 15 years. I think we need to put something in there actually that is. Those sports fields, isn't it?
It should be over 3 to 8 years.
Yeah, so modelling. Playing fields at Cromwell Racecourse.
And what year did that?
Playing fields at Cromwell Racecourse in years 3 to 8.
Outdoor playing fields.
You want to put a rough figure in there just for, so the next sort of.
Did you get
3 to
that,
8
Gordon?
years, fine.
Didn't hear anything, did you, Gordon?
Indoor or outdoor?
Outdoors.
That's outdoor.
And then there's option 2.
Covered.
Buffers.
Or did.
Notes that the book bus should go out beyond year 3.
Beyond.
Would you want to spell beyond?
Yes, I do.
Pressure, Lee.
I know it's hard when people want you tight.
And I mean to it, Molly's doing it.
Rachel.
Library collection is option 2, modernising library services.
Oh, yeah. Your money in.
Cromwell Library remains in the existing location, noting it'll be part of the centre, so that's fine. And then
We get work.
leave this.
To simplify governance.
Oh, sorry, so basically, yeah, to the, three countries,
Where
and some of that was.
I think I would just put notes, no seatings. Instead of agrees to leave this, notes, no. So the PTE.
So apparently I wonder. It's gonna be. So.
And then same for the years.
I think what. So. The one in. Excuse me.
And then there's an additional one for Peter's.
It's gonna be licensed. So.
That works better.
So that is
Station to the council.
agrees to. Would it be 200 or 250?
50
50 comes from.
annum for years 1 to 3.
Now you see the rights.
Government report.
Proceed just like that.
So Saskia, with the earthquake strengthening
Mhm.
for Molly Stadium, that's already in the budget from previous though, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not an increase. It's not, in fact, that
Not as far as-
possibly it will be a decrease.
Right, and then the last one is notes that these decisions are subject to completion of the full draft LTP budget, which will come to council in July 2026 for its consideration. No decisions are full and final. I am happy to move recommendations A to BG. Tracy's happy to second that. Thank you. All those in favour? Again,
BG, is that a
carried.
That's a
Thank you very much for that. And I reckon
Not bad.
we move with purpose. And now, because we are putting the time, we are going to pull some of the other things, please, Wayne, forward. So that we can. Oh, Audie, are you happy to do cemeteries? That would be wonderful, thank you.
You're on time.
Do get more and more painful, you know.
Page 117 of the agenda for everybody following along online, the cemetery strategy. Welcome.
Thank you. So this is an update to a previous strategy. As you can see, this is all a cemetery, both trust and council owned, as well as the closed cemeteries we have throughout the district. The main purpose really was to give a snapshot of what's happening in each of those cemeteries and really provide some guidance on, well, some of the security that we've got space going forward for burials, which I'm pleased to say we have got adequate space for the foreseeable future for growth and death. And also to ensure that we, have fit for purpose cemeteries that are fit for, what they're there for. And that we maintain them in that way, and that we are flexible in the way we, what burial options we provide for the community. So happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, just the first comment, very interesting, obviously, the part about the ash interments becoming significantly more popular. And I don't think that's going to decrease. One thing that I did, well, obviously it's not in here, because I'm presuming that it deals with only current cemeteries. There has, I know from time to time, council probably gets a request in relation to burials outside of a cemetery, as a new, what would be considered a new cemetery. How does that play in?
Well, I don't think we're.
Especially from the rural side, people want to bury loved ones on their own land.
Is it burying on your land? So there's a whole process to go through that doesn't involve the council.
Yep.
It's a Ministry of Health process to apply. It's quite difficult.
Yep.
I think we might have had one that might not have even been approved in my time here, but yeah, so it's not part of this, and it's something people have to do individually. Council doesn't really have a say in it, maybe through a resource consent process, but other than that.
So in that event, if that was something that would just be noted as a private cemetery on here, on this type of document, or?
Yes, it would be. It'd be something like a Urapa or something like that as well. We noted something that council managers.
Okay.
It's gone. Very frustrating when they comments.
Yeah,
I think it's a big part is the drop on.
That's your limitation.
It's literally reads, which about some of those smaller cemeteries.
History and
Yeah.
yeah. It's a good resource document as well as a bit of strategy.
Cemetery tour.
There's a lot of history in them, isn't there? Like the wee ones, especially Naseby.
It's been some of those smaller trust ones have a lot of history, but
Yeah.
Well, there's some Bethel's ones really got a good story, and they get pack everybody up and move them because they found gold.
Sorry, John, we've got to get out.
Give them a
Right.
bird one, give them a bird one.
Recommendation that we receive the report and adopt the strategy cemetery. Thank you, Martin and Stu. Those in favour? Against? Carried.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you, gentlemen.
I could probably pick up the one below if you want the Cromwell Town Centre Steering Group. Bex isn't here, but.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yep, I'm happy if you want to come back later and bring Bex. But it's
So it's
like
a little
we've
bit
got-
of a formality, but you had the original paper come to the last meeting, and the council just now have a bit of a think on who you'd like, and there'll be a similar paper that goes to Cromwell Community Board next week on who they would like on the group as well.
given that this is a formality paper, did you want to say anything to it, or everybody's read it?
Yeah, just a note that everybody's read it. It will operate at pace because we are trying to meet, I guess the financial implications for the LTP. So we do plan to kick off relatively quickly and have something for the LTP around that sort of August, September place. It'll involve just, I guess, the way we've done it before. This would be the third group that we've done this. The first one was with VCB and Jayden. The second one was when we did the OPEX model of the Cromwell Hall, and Councillor Brown was on the operational steering group of that. So this will be the third time that we've done that, and it helps us as staff get a good steer and operate probably at a better pace than what we usually would. And this is the first time we would have a council representative and a CCB representative. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Right, noting the extra workload for no extra money, which is what we love doing here at the council. I have spoken to him and asked, I'm happy to nominate Charlie if he is happy to take on that role.
Charlie.
Thank you very much. So on that, I will note that we received the report and accept the level of significance. Note that we can enjoy listening to who we've picked for you, Beck.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
Notes. So, yeah.
In the terms of reference, point E, your primary goal of the project.
Come on, Bex.
Should there be a,
It's yours.
like affordable be in there as well, perhaps?
Sounds good to add it in.
Yeah.
I guess you guys will decide that when.
Yes, I know, but you know, making sure that's in the back of your mind, don't bring us something that bets the whole house on it, you know?
What Charlie's for?
Yeah, well, at point E,
Charlie's
add that
supreme guidance
in terms of
lunchtime.
reference.
Okay, so if C becomes appoints councillor Sanders to the Cromwell Town Centre Project Steering Group. Approves the terms of reference for the steering group. And did you want to add something? Resolution?
I was just going to ask a question. It mentions in there that a chair will be appointed. Would that be somebody from council staff?
I guess as a group, we'll have a conversation on that.
So it could be councillor or.
Councillor, yeah.
Even with the Cromwell, with the,
Works.
yeah, who was the chair there? Did you have?
The OPEX one, as in bringing operation.
No, the project one.
The mud group when it was.
No, she's talking about the project group for the hall.
Oh,
We never elected a chair.
But we do have a chair for the Roxburgh one, which is Curtis.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that because I've lost all my notes. So that's exactly what I was going to say. And I think it would be more prudent to have an elected member as a chair.
I agree.
Because it's meant to be an elected member driven project.
Well, the problem if you don't have elected member as chair is the people that are tasked with delivering the project are governing that group as well, by default. Which isn't probably the right way to do it.
I'd like us to add that in a resolution, so can you please put
Nice and
number
clear.
E, notes that the steering group will elect a chair and council's preference is that.
And there was the amendment to on the terms of reference.
CCB have not yet elected their member, have they? That's next week.
One would suggest that if the council elect the chair, affordability would be quite an important thing.
Then originally you did have.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Bring it up because I thought I saw it.
Good pass.
steering groups.
Council's preference because I think it's quite a clear steer.
So that's all we.
And then on terms of reference, notes that the word affordable is added to paragraph E.
Question on the makeup of that group. You've got, on one page, you've got steering committee being the project sponsor, project owner, councillor, community board rep, then down on page 189, membership, makeup and group size, stakeholders may include more user group.
As stakeholders,
Yeah, so they're not on the steering committee.
not
Right.
stakeholders. Yeah, just people we'd connect with.
Right.
the same as the PCG and then we've got external stakeholders.
Okay, so they're not going to be, yeah, right. So it's just confusing because it says membership, I suppose, of that, and you sort of think they're members of that steering committee.
Gotcha. Okay. Take that out.
Yeah. They're not members.
So they're not.
They're not members.
Do you want to take that?
So she's not
out?
membership.
Just clarity.
They're not members of the group.
That's what they.
Right, happy with that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
360, Charlie. We started, full 360. Actually started, town centre.
I started before then.
Give us Miss Charlie.
Just thinking, when do all of the bulldozer?
So we've appointed Charlie Sanders and we've approved the terms of reference subject to adding the word affordable to paragraph E. And note that the group will appoint a chair and council's preferences for it to be an elected member. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll move that.
Stu and Bob. All those in favour? Aye, against, carried. Much appreciated, thank
One
you.
more, I think we've collected.
Charlie.
Yeah.
That's right. There could be a statue of you out there with a big
To
fruit.
get out of here.
Get it wrong, it'd be a big lemon.
It might be like Vincent Pike that they put in the.
Yeah. Bonfires, aren't they?
Good.
Watch yourself, Charlie.
Are we doing the Edenhall extension?
Yes.
Yeah, 192.
So take the report as being read, but it's asking about the extension of the Eden collection to Toitu. The garments have been on loan and on display, and this is extending it to 21st of April 2027.
If we accept the recommendations. And approve it.
And I'll second it.
Marvellous. Would anybody else like to make any comments about it?
I think it's been well received, hasn't it?
It's been brilliantly
Yeah, it's been a great thing.
Gone through and seen the collection. It's quite popular.
Yeah.
Very successful book as well.
Yeah.
It's been a success story. It showed the vision of the former councils to preserve some of the heritage and history.
We went out and bought frocks.
Yeah, right.
Well done, Marty.
Donated some of your own, didn't you?
Carried. Thank you. That takes us
Special ones.
nicely through to the lunch break, please. We will be back here at 1:10. Yep, because we've got externals coming to join that part. So great work. Thanks, team.
It was